Hi, welcome to this short video on how to compare models in MySportsAI. Okay, let's get started. First I'm going to do what I usually do in MySportsAI, is I'm going to select the area of races that I'm interested in. So if I go to race type here, click on slice data, open the slice data window. Now I want to examine handicaps as before, so if I select handicap races and slice the data, it'll now remove all the races from the data frame and leave only handicaps. So I'm just interrogating and trying to build a model with handicaps. You can see up here it highlights the fact that I've sliced the data and we're now just dealing with handicaps. Okay. Let's build a very simple model. The purpose of this video, as with all videos that I do, is not to demonstrate a winning, ready-to-go model, but to demonstrate some of the facilities of MySportsAI. So I'm going to select just a couple of input features. Let's go for days since last ran and the trainer strike rate within the race. This, as you can see, if you put the cursor over TR in race, you can see at the top it describes the actual feature. This is the trainer strike rate divided by the top trainer strike rate in the race. So it gives you a kind of a ranking of trainers within each race based on their individual strike rates in relation to the top rated or the highest rated trainer in the race. So I've selected two features there. I'm going to go with the standard gradient boosting algorithm, and I'm now going to create a model. So I click on create model. Up comes the create model screen, and I'm not going to make any changes here because it's not really what I'm trying to demonstrate on this video. I'm just going to run the model using a train test split and all the other standard settings here. Okay, this will take 5, 6, 7 seconds maybe to run, and I'm going to get the results coming up here, as you've probably noticed in previous videos that I've been running. You'll also notice from previous videos is that there's a new button up here which was grayed out until the results appeared, and now it's actually available to use. Now this is what I'm trying to demonstrate today, this use of this Hist button here, because previously when I get the results up, if I then wanted to make some changes to this model, let's say for example I want to run the model with replacing missing values with the mean of columns, or remove missing values altogether, or perhaps I want to go back to the previous window and select some different input features and run a fresh model. Maybe I want to run the model with a different algorithm instead of gradient boosting, or perhaps I just want to do a k-fold cross validation run rather than the train test, or maybe, and so on and so on. There are different, I can reconfigure the model and rerun it and see if I get different results, and I'm sure if you've been using the software you've already been doing this. The trouble is I'd have to sort of make some sort of either mental note of the performance of this model, and we can see from down here we've got the Bria skill score, which is a positive number, which is good, and it's telling me down here what the variable return percentage is backing the top 3 rated, and again that's at least it's positive, 0.09%. But if I'm going to change this model and then rerun it, I'm going to lose this information here, so I'll have to either write it down or take a screenshot so that I can then come back and compare. Well, we no longer have to do that, because as you'll see, if we look at this one, the top 3 rated was 0.09%. If I changed it, and I've already changed it here to mean of columns rather than the median, so I've changed it to mean. If I rerun the model, it'll do another train test split but we'll get slightly different results because we're using the mean of columns to remove or replace missing data. So we're going to get a slightly different results coming up, and you can see it's changed. The variable return on that top rate has just changed. So now I want to compare this with the previous model. Well, if I go and click on Hist, I get a fresh screen up which is showing me the history of the models that I've just been creating. And this is the last model. You can see from the results there. This is the last model I created. And the variable return on investment for the top three is 0.16, 0.0131 for the Bria. It's fairly similar. It's pretty similar to the previous model. But let's look at the previous model. If I click on the back button, you can see now I've got the first model's information in front of me, and in actual fact this model was slightly worse because the top three produced 0.09. The previous one was, if we go back to it, was 0.16. So again, going back to the original model, the first model, I can look at the results here and then compare them to the previous one by going forward. And this history of my model development can be obviously extend beyond just two models. If I now create a third model, it'll remain in my history and I can check all three models and compare them. If I go on to create 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 models, of course they'll all be retained in the model history, and I can compare the models by toddling backwards and forwards using the back and forward. Now, it may be that I look at a model and I just don't like the look of it, but I don't want to see it anymore, and perhaps it's maybe, let's look at this model here. I may look at it and decide that it's of no interest to me. You can then delete it from the history by clicking on delete. So that one is now gone, and I've only got the single first model that I created. Sorry, this is the second model. I've got the second model that I created here. I deleted the original one, and there's a clear all button as well, which means you can clear all the models from the history if you've really haven't found any of interest and you want to start again and start with a fresh model history. So this is the history button. It allows you to toddle through the models you've been creating and compare them, and saves you the trouble of making mental notes or even writing them down or taking screenshots. And this will be available in the next edition of MySportsAI, which will be out fairly soon. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any comments or suggestions regarding this feature or other features in MySportsAI, please add comments to this video, and thanks for watching.